Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the group exhibit Hydrogen Fuel Cells and Batteries, here to our public forum. In the next 40 minutes, we will have a discussion here in the public forum about the Hydrogen Council, newly founded. Positioning hydrogen at the core of the climate transition is our topic. I would like to invite you all to participate in this discussion. So whenever you have a question, you just can raise your hand and participate in this discussion here on the panel. My name is Ulrich Walter. I'll be your moderator, and I welcome very much my panelists here on stage. Right next to me is Dr. Antoine Mazas. He's the Managing Director of LIQUIDE Advanced Technologies GmbH. I would like to welcome Kleczka in the middle of us. She's the head of Hydrogen Fuel Cell Project of the BMW Group. And opposite of me, Ferry Franz, welcome the Director of Toyota Motor Europe Berlin office. So, you know, my panelists, you know what we're dealing about. It is the Hydrogen Council, so we just start. Ms. Kleczka, in January this year, 13 leading energy, transport and industry companies have launched a global initiative to voice a united vision of a long-term ambition in the field of hydrogen and fuel cells. BMW was one of it. Why this year? Why 2017? And why Davos?
Well, taking why Davos, maybe first, at the World Economic Forum, you reach a huge audience of decision makers, of leaders in the industries, of public awareness, and it was the perfect platform to launch the Hydrogen Council, thanks to the initiative by LIQUIDE and Toyota, of course, which are the two chairs of the initiative. And from BMW side, we joined this initiative because we are strongly committed to the hydrogen mobility and hydrogen as an energy carrier in the renewable energy system, and to have a global platform to align positions, to align advocacy, to align standards as well. Technological standards is crucial for a technological breakthrough. And to enable a technological breakthrough, it's now the right time to do so. So we have proven with our product, Toyota with the Mirai already in the market. We have our first demonstration and validation fleet, that the technology is mature and ready for market introduction. But we need all the boundary conditions to enable market success, and that's why right now is the right time for this initiative.
Dr. Mazas, what Ms. Kleczka already said, it was the idea of LIQUIDE initially, and Toyota was the first one you asked about, so you both initiated the Hydrogen Council. But at the World Economic Forum this year, it was all about digitalization. Sergey Brin was there. It was about globalization. Xi Jinping and Jack Ma were taking the lead. So nobody expected a Hydrogen Council actually in Davos. How did it come?
So hopefully this was one of the good news of this
it was for me, yes.
World Economic Forum. So as you said, this is an initiative of a couple of companies, among which LIQUIDE. Maybe we can recall here what is the ambition of this council. So this council, this is a club of today 13 very large industrial companies. And the speaking level is the highest possible level. So this is a club of CEOs willing to promote more actively the use of hydrogen in the energy transition, in the economy worldwide. And what you just said is that Davos, this is the right place to have a global reach, because in Davos in January, you have many leaders from governments, from international institutions, from private companies, from public companies, of course, as well, who gather and who exchange their views in a quite free mode about how is the world progressing, what can we do together, in which direction do we want to go. And this initiative was announced in Davos, especially for those reasons. We want to have a global reach. We want to have communication for hydrogen at the highest level. We want to have an active communication towards the governments, the global institutions, various international bodies, all together. And that's the reason why we chose this, I would say, this platform, this event, to start with this Hydrogen Council.
Mr. Franz, and it's still not so easy, even if they were all there in Davos, to get them all together and to speak to each other. They are also competitors, you know. You're sitting right next to a competitor. Well, maybe it's not the stage of competition at the moment. What would you say?
No, I think you're fully right. I think competition is one thing, but I think all of the people who joined the council have one common goal: to bring hydrogen to the next step. And maybe also this is the reason why to make it this year. I think there were big ambitions from everyone, all across the various industries. Some failed, some ambitious, some were maybe a little bit too slow in the ramp-up phase. And to have now a council with high-ranked companies all over the world was the right step to promote hydrogen and to also show to the public that there's a common task we have to face.
As far I understand, is your goal is to tell the politicians what to do, actually, and to show them, well, we have a vision of the future energy system, so please join us and help us on this way. Is that correct?
Right. So of course we have this negotiation and discussion platform also internally. So we don't have a problem with BMW. BMW don't have a problem with us, especially.
We collaborate.
We collaborate anyway. Yes, that's right.
And also with the other brands and OEMs who participate in this forum. That's only the goal and not the competition in the first line. Coming back to your question, I think we have to empower also the politics. I think if you, especially in Germany, if you look to the actual surrounding, everyone is focusing on BEV because it's now kind of stylish and famous. And of course, BEV could be one part of decarbonization, but you need more than only BEV. So we are lobbying for hydrogen as actually now second choice, but I think we would have the chance to become first choice.
Okay, would you agree, Dr. Mazas, what Mr. Franz said? You're a lobby for hydrogen, is that right? You're another lobby organization, the Hydrogen Council.
So lobby, for me, stands a lot business-oriented. And this is not exactly what we want to do with this council. So the objective of the council is a political objective. So it is raising the awareness that hydrogen is absolutely key in the energy transition, in the political world, and within the global institutions. So this is not a business platform. That's why exactly what we discussed a short while ago. No matter if in the council there are several competitors together, this is the case for the industrial gases, this is the case for automotive industry, this is the case for utilities. But that's not the question. The question is not how making good business with hydrogen. The question is how do we progress collectively in making hydrogen one of the key pillars of the energy transition. That's the key question which is addressed by the Council. And the second question which comes immediately after is how can we raise the awareness of hydrogen as being one of the solutions for the energy transition worldwide among the political leaders, among the international institutions, and ultimately, of course, among all citizens in the world. Because probably some of you have noticed that we have some challenges with other technologies. Battery electric cars, for instance, Elon Musk, not to quote him, in the US, making a lot of communication, a lot of advertisement for this kind of technology, and not being, so far, a big fan from hydrogen. And we wanted also...
Not at all, yes.
Not at all. But, well, everyone is entitled to make mistakes up to a certain moment. So
I'll tell him if I meet him.
yeah, of course.
So-
Please convey this message.
so-
And and we want also to increase the awareness of hydrogen, and we want to increase the communication. We want to make this solution more visible, and probably with a better reach than it has today.
But Ms. Kleczka, not only increase awareness, but also increase investments, as far as I understood. So the 13 members said, well, we are already investing 1.4 billion euros, and we would like to empower that and invest even more. But we need a sure signal from the politicians. Is that right?
We not just need a signal from the politicians, but decisions to establish the right environment and boundary conditions to enable hydrogen mobility to be a market success. So we are all investing a lot since years in the technology development and in market introduction, but it takes more to convince a customer and to establish the boundary conditions for market success.
So is that, could I see it as a test balloon to see whether the politics really mean it's serious, the support for hydrogen, just not talking about it and saying, well, that might be the future and something, but how serious does politics mean it? And if not, you say, okay, we tried it, that's it.
No, I won't put it into that direction. We already have since years a lot of platforms and working groups on the European level, German level, in Japan, in California, and so on. And there the public-private collaboration works quite well. So there are a lot of programs, there are a lot of initiatives together with the governmental organizations. But a lot of them focus on very specific areas. And one reason to establish this Hydrogen Council platform is to have a holistic approach on it, not just focusing on mobility, or not just focusing on energy transformation, or not just focusing on economical issues, but to put it all together and to have a holistic approach, because that's what our experience is in discussions with governments or authorities, is that even they often focus on specific subjects and tasks.
Right. Mr. Franz, there are three main policy recommendations you give to the politics for the potential of hydrogen. This is first, provide a long-term and stable policy framework. Secondly, it's develop coordination and incentive policies. And third, facilitate harmonization of industry standards. What would you say? How do they respond already on these three recommendations that you have?
Well, I think since last year, at least in Germany, they have started to support also hydrogen quite heavily, especially in the area of infrastructure, and also support with end customer usage for hybrid cars. But of course, it's not expected that they focus 100% on hydrogen. So of course, they have also, on the other hand, battery electric vehicle, and not only vehicle, but also battery electric support programs. And what is also under development is, of course, to link this a little bit also to hydrogen. But up to now, what we have seen within the last 6 months, it's improving. And I think it gives the right signal for the players in the market to now support also this direction. And it's not a technology you can switch on and off. So I doubt that we would stop if we don't see immediate reactions from politics to support hydrogen. We have a target, we have a vision, all of these 13 and also the other one who will join within the coming months. So, of course, we need the politicians and try to convince them in this direction, but we will move on forward with the technology.
Dr. Mazas, how do you see that? How far are you in convincing the politicians about this technology? Or are there still a lot of politicians saying, well, battery electric vehicles will be the future and that's it, and just forget about the fuel cell cars?
I think today, so first of all, we have to acknowledge that in a number of countries, hydrogen benefit already from a very good political support, especially through various funding and or investment programs, through various public-private partnerships. Here in Germany, for instance, in the US, in some states, in Japan, where the government a couple of weeks ago announced publicly that they want to go to a hydrogen economy, that they want to really incorporate and develop their energy systems around hydrogen, etc., etc. In Korea as well, where there is a strong support from the government. Well, that being said, compared to the situation 50 years ago, I think the governments do not see themselves as being the ones who give the technology direction. So this is what we see most of the time. At the government level, people say we'll not favor one technology against another. We'll support all of them equally, and then the market will decide. And this is where probably we have to accompany a bit more the political leaders so that they are aware of the advantages of each of the solutions and the consistency of each of those solutions, so that there is also a political vision who says, okay, this is a sustainable way that we want collectively to go. So probably to help the governments to be a bit more proactive in one direction or in another.
Exactly. The Hydrogen Council is not a platform of blackmailing politicians. So this is a platform of dialogue, actually, and there is. We have a lot of public awareness that energy transition is needed to stop global warming, and there is we need to speed up this momentum, and that's the main reason, not to blackmail or punish one or the other.
Okay. Maybe another point on that. Often you can read, for instance, in the press that. What could slow down the energy transition is the fact that you have a lot of industries which are a bit linked with the old economy. You have a lot of employment which is at stake, economical risk, and so on and so on. So there is no government willing to run any risk with its own economy. And I think the signal which is given by the Hydrogen Council is exactly that one, is to say, as large industrial companies, so cumulated, these are more than 1,000 billion euro sales for those 13 companies. And this is, if I'm not wrong, 1.7 million employees worldwide in the Hydrogen Council represented today. So, and those large companies are telling the various governments, look, we want to accelerate the energy transition. So please do not use the economy and the policies as an excuse to slow down the energy transition. We want to be the ones helping to accelerate this transition. So, and we are there to help you, to support you that way, to give you the appropriate technology insights in order to help you to foster those developments. So this is the strong signal which is given to the governments.
And this is also quite a new approach, I would say, Ms. Kleczka. As you already pointed out, you're not only heading into a hydrogen infrastructure or into fuel cell cars, but you say, well, we have to foster the energy transmission and transition, and we have to look at all sectors like energy, transport, industry, residential, all together. But what would be your vision then to have a complete new world run by hydrogen?
and not only run by hydrogen. Hydrogen is one core pillar and one element of the energy transition and of a decarbonized energy system and a decarbonized mobility and transportation sector. At BMW, we are prepared to make zero-emission offers to all our customers in all vehicle segments, from the very small vehicle to the X7 or Rolls-Royce, our biggest car. We don't have any trucks and buses, I'm sorry, but and for that it's not just one powertrain technology that will fit all the requirements and customer profiles and segments, and that's why we focus on both battery electric vehicle and fuel cell electric vehicle. And I think hydrogen.
You didn't call it the Battery and Hydrogen Council. You only called it the Hydrogen Council.
Yes.
Okay.
And for the hydrogen. And for the hydrogen topic, we feel that there is still we need to put more focus on to establish a green hydrogen chain. Otherwise, you would just transfer the greenhouse gas emission issue from the tailpipe to the power plant. And that is a feedback we get from our customers very often, that only if the whole chain is green or regarded as green, then it's an offer they consider.
And Mr. Franz, when you see, we talk a lot about sector coupling now in Germany, but I think also worldwide, sector coupling is one big issue now. And are you really interested in establish with the Hydrogen Council this sector coupling, or are you, as Toyota representative, just interested in a hydrogen infrastructure that you need to sell your Mirai cars, of course?
No, I think it's far above only selling one car or one car line or anything else. Toyota has a vision of 2050, and it's on the one hand side, of course, to have an entire car range with zero emission, but to the same time to have zero emission plants and zero emission recycling activities. And I think we are all going in this direction of decarbonization. And of course, you could have all technologies, because you cannot compensate drinking by eating or vice versa. So
sometimes you can. Huh?
Yeah, but only for a short period, yeah. And then you have headaches.
3 beers, 1 schnitzel.
But basically, I think it's one way what we would promote that could be an alternative for the future. And it's not only as transmission system; it's far above. So we are not only trying hydrogen within our cars or trucks and buses, but also in our plants. So we have established, and that was announced last week, we have established a hydrogen power train for our plant Motomachi, together with a micro gas turbine. And we think that's also one test phase, and we will roll out it further if needed and if feasible.
That's where you burn hydrogen to produce electricity,
yes.
Is it?
Right.
Is that very effective?
Well, I think it's for a country like Japan, it's an alternative. And so we are dependent on oil and gas from other countries to nearly more than 90%. So for us, it's of course an alternative also to burn hydrogen, yes.
Interesting approaches, of course. So are there any questions around? So just raise your hand if there's a question. You can talk with my guest, of course, immediately and directly. I come with the microphone directly to you. If you have a question, there's one from the audience. If you'd please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Rodrigo Goren. I'm from Chile. Within the... Yeah, good. Rodrigo Goren from Chile. So my question is, okay, so within the terms of decarbonizing by using hydrogen as a fuel, okay, all good, but in terms of culturizing the population on the safeties of burning hydrogen, you know, because when the topic goes to the eye of the hurricane, there will be a lot of questions coming about the safety of burning hydrogen, as is a very flammable material. So what are the approaches on that from the company?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gorin. This is something about public awareness we have to do. Dr. Mazas, you probably could easily answer this question about the safety of hydrogen.
So I don't know if my colleagues are burning hydrogen, but we are not burning hydrogen.
Burning hydrogen.
That's the point.
It's an electrochemical reaction.
Of course, so hydrogen is an energy carrier, okay? So if you want to benefit from the energy of the hydrogen, you have to kind of organize a chemical reaction, which takes place in the fuel cell, and this produces electricity. Okay, so for an energy carrier, of course, the gas must convey energy. And you're right, hydrogen is flammable, like natural gas, like many other gases. And for this reason, we are working with some safety rules, like any other industry branch. And we are doing that since more than 50 years now. We are operating already a significant number of hydrogen stations worldwide in very safe conditions. We educate people, we make them aware about the risks, and in the same time, our responsibility as industrial company is to make sure that a station which is put at the disposal of a wide public is really safe for the end users and for the customers. So that's why we have developed specific technology items. That's why we have specific fueling process. That's why there is a lot of cooperation between the automotive industry and the infrastructure industry to make sure that every safety aspect is covered. That's why we have, at the international level, lots of working groups dealing with those questions, making the industry progress as well, editing some standards which are valid worldwide. And what we do also, for instance, in Germany, is that there is a mutual control from one sector for the other. So, for instance, when I put in operation a fueling station, I kindly ask my colleagues to check it. A number of items which are related to safety aspects, which are related to the fueling protocol, because it's important for the car itself. And after I get their blessing, and fortunately, because we have done a good job, it comes, then only after we got this blessing, after we got this formal validation, then we put the station in operation.
Yes. But, sorry.
Yes, please go on.
But hydrogen isn't dangerous. Only under some very
Since the Hindenburg, every German thinks the hydrogen is dangerous.
Yes, and even 9-year-old boys ask me about Hindenburg. It's generations ago. But only under certain circumstances it can be dangerous. But as an element, as itself, it isn't dangerous at all. And then hydrogen or a fuel cell electric car is as safe as any other car. Is as safe as a combustion engine powered vehicle, as safe as a battery powered vehicle. And if you have, maybe you have seen the vehicle, the 5GT at our booth, the tank is installed in the safest place in the car you could imagine.
So, since you said you're working on public awareness, we're just doing it.
Yes.
You know, the safety issue is something. Not only hydrogen is safe, but also the tanks should be safe, and they are probably very safe. If I ask you, Mr. Franz, they have at least 700 bar, which is quite a lot, but they won't explode if you have a crash, do they?
No.
Not even then.
Yeah, because I think you have to pass every kind of crash test, and you know the crash tests in Germany and America, they are really heavy.
And then we double the requirement.
Yes, and the classical crash test, we achieved 5 stars in all countries with the Mirai, and I think it will be the same with the upcoming BMW and Mercedes-Benz. So I think there's not really a problem with the tanks and also the pressure. If it's now with 700 bar, we tested by far more than 700 bar, of course.
Are there any other questions from your side? Just raise your hand, please. Not at the moment. Ms. Kleczka, I do understand why Air Liquide is part of the Hydrogen Council, because they're earning money with hydrogen already. You know, there's a lot of hydrogen in the industry already. And I also understand why Mr. Franz is joining it from Toyota, because they have a product on the market. BMW has, since the Hydrogen 7, not a single car on the market, and you're not planning to have one till 2021. Well, it's just the vision that forces you.
Well, we know from our experience from introduction of the BMW i3 or introduction of any new technology that it takes a lot of time to prepare, not just to be ready technology-wise, but to be ready market-wise as well, and to establish and ensure that we have the right boundary conditions for our customers, to have a positive experience when they have their first BMW fuel cell electric vehicle, because new technology can only be a success in the market if it's a positive experience and not just hunting for refueling stations or coping with any other problems. And that's why we kindly ask for your patience.
But if I think of hybrid cars, you had made some experience already with Toyota. Said in the first time, well, this won't work. And when it worked, you said, oh, we have to hurry up very quickly, you know. So according to your board member, Klaus Fröhlich, you won't have a large series until 2025 on the market.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Toyota will be on market already 10 years, you know. You can't call that fast follower anymore.
Even, yes. To be honest, you are right.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's come to the next topic.
Well, but of course we have to. Well, our main strategy, our first strategy when it comes to zero emission is battery electric vehicles. That's why we were the first on the market with the BMW i3. So and there are a lot of other models to come in the next years. And as a complementary technology, especially for big cars, we are sure we focus on the fuel cell electric vehicle, and we have to concentrate on some technologies, and we started late, but we will make it good.
Okay.
I'm quite sure that if there's a higher demand and the demand is increasing, then it will not take up to 2025.
No, then we will speed up.
BMW
sure.
is really full in the market. I think that's you have now a plan for the ramp-up phase. If the ramp-up phase is faster or quicker, then you will react on this. And you said you can understand why Toyota joined. I don't do, because we don't earn money with this, I must admit, and I think it will be in the automotive sector.
You earn reputation with this.
Yes, but it will be for automotive industry or the automotive sector of Air Liquide the same. So I think up to now it's only investment for the future. And I think if you know that it took more than 10 years that we earned the first time money with a hybrid car, then you can also understand that for all of the 13 parties, they are investing for the future and not for now or for tomorrow. It's a long-term activity of every of these companies.
Yeah. Usually it takes 3 generations to earn money. Maybe we can skip one.
And this is why, and that's probably
would be good.
one of the reasons why the council is also important, because in this dialogue with the governments and with the global institutions, we need to make sure that the appropriate framework is in place to have this long-term perspective, to deploy this long-term vision. Because of course, this is not from one day to another that you will have 30% of hydrogen cars in the road. No, for this you need years. But if we want to be successful in 5, in 10 years, we want to make the efforts we are doing now, and we have to do them now.
Yeah. So you cannot postpone.
And this is something sometimes people it's not that easy for them to understand. But the intensity of the efforts that we are putting now, the intensity of our investments now, this is hopefully the warranty for our success tomorrow.
And 2025 for an OEM in
the industry world,
considering development cycles,
it's not that
tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not that far.
I always have
all
sleepless
appreciate
nights
very
because
much your
of
commitment to that technology,
Yes.
of course. Yeah, indeed, yes. We are already coming to the end, but Mr. Franz, I would like to ask you, you're co-chairing with LIQUIDE the Hydrogen Council. What will be the next steps you will take?
I think the next step, and also this is a demonstration that everyone is really behind the Hydrogen Council. The next step is the preparation, of course, of the COP, within the COP23 meeting, the meeting of all the board members in Bonn, so also in Germany. I think that's quite good for us. And to have the next step and the next presentation and the next messages ready for this point. So we work hardly on preparation for this event, and to have 13 or to this time maybe 15 or 16 of the biggest company heads in one place, I think that shows the commitment of all these companies.
Indeed, it does, and I wish you good luck with this initiative and well, global success with it. I would like to thank you very much for being here and talking to me, and I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Don't miss to visit the booth of BMW at B59, just over the aisle over there, and the booth of Air Liquide at B50, just down the aisle over there, and also Toyota you will find on the booth of CEP at B56, and also you can drive these cars and test them out at the Ride and Drive session. So our next interview will be at 3:40 with Mats Friis Jansen, CCO of Serenergy, about the methanol vision, liquid electricity, the feasible energy carrier. Thank you once again for being here.